Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Six Rings King Show on a new night, Monday night now, baby. We're really excited, actually, to have Eric McLean on the show here, college football analyst, co-host of The Huddle. Coach, yes! All right!
First touchdown of the year.
Miami Hurricanes, yeah. You know the name already. It's Mercy. Ha ha. It's a six-ring Kane show. Can't forget the name though. Got Jazz, Blue, Vision, DJ break the game code. Ain't no changing them, ain't no breaking them. We'll put alive from the Hard Rock Stadium. Ball 14 for the orange and green. We see the six-ring champs. It's more than a dream. This is life on the field. Beyond 100 yards of Hurricane that's never still put a damage to your squad.
What's wrong with us? Seriously.
What's wrong with us? We're Miami Hurricanes fans.
Welcome to the Six Rings Kane Show, a show dedicated to Miami Hurricane sports, featuring the legendary Larry Bluestein, Jazz Santana, Vish, and Danny Gillette. Let's go Canes.
I'm back, everybody. I'm back. I know everybody.
Wait, you were gone? What happened?
Well, you missed me.
Jazz who?
I know.
Look, Gus missed you because he jumped right in here.
Yeah.
Hey, Gus.
I was just texting him. I'm like, I'm doing the show, man. Just chop it. All right, let's talk there. What's going on, fellas? It's good to be back. It's been an interesting week, and I know it's been an interesting night for Larry Bluestein. What's going on, Blue? How are you, buddy?
Doing good.
Good, man.
It's a slow week.
It's a slow week, but listen, the Kings are going to be in Charlotte now for ACC Media Week, and we got some baseball talk we definitely want to go over.
But yeah, we're going to go deep on the baseball. People have been asking for a baseball show. They're going to get one. So
I'll tell you what, because after this, we've got about 3 weeks before practice training camp starts.
I mean, you understand, we got to start doing like position breakdowns, schedule breakdowns. We got to do all this. It's getting serious now. It's August.
Yeah. This is some of the last baseball you're going to hear for a minute, possibly. Yeah. So y'all better take advantage of that. But we've got that. We've got it's pretty cool. The news that we heard today about Miami and Louisville kind of starting up or sparking up a little bit of a rivalry, or
that's what you call making lemonade out of lemons. That's what that is, because there's no reason these two teams should be playing every year.
What the hell, right? It's the Schnellenberger Bowl, right?
There's a shared history there with the coach. So
so
we'll lead into that.
Whatever. It's to spark up, I guess, some interest on some of the games now in the schedule for ACC.
I think it's to try and find a purpose for the game, because there's no reason these two teams should be playing.
I think it's trying to find a purpose for the ACC period, but that's we'll definitely get into that a little bit. Oh man,
that conversation might be coming up sooner rather than later at this rate too.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, right. He's so far removed from both schools. It's like, what is that?
Yeah, I mean, he ended up at. Hey, what was his last go around was at FAU, right?
Yeah,
that was the last part of place.
And that was 2 decades ago,
right? So
think how long he's been since it's been Louisville. Hasn't been Oklahoma and
anything to get butts in the seats, I guess.
I don't even think. Again, I don't think it's going to sell a single ticket. It's more just.
I don't know.
What are they going to add? 9 people who knew where he coached? Or
yeah,
I don't know. Just something to build the hype, I guess. I'm sure.
Come on, DJ.
But I was like,
I'm trying to find a silver lining here.
There is no silver
DJ,
lining.
I appreciate it, bro.
It's a dumb thing.
But
Blue's had a long night already. He just does not have the patience for this type of crap right now.
I mean, I was looking at that and I'm like, what? Why? But all right, it's cool. Whatever. I mean, it's not gonna make a difference. So.
I mean, I don't understand. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to like add some relevance to a game that has none, that is inexplicably getting played every year now. But I mean, the games that have those trophies are like, it's been doing this since the 1800s. You can't just like manufacture some BS nebulous link and be like, oh yeah, like anyone's gonna care about this trophy.
Right. It's not like something that kind of sparked out of an actual natural rivalry, or it's about Howard Schnellenberger, and there's other ways that we could probably honor him, and we do, right? We do. I think the Kings honor him pretty well for the most part. So, but whatever. You know what? It's an extra trophy, and
Might be the only one we can win.
Let's leave it for a little bit.
That's a home game. That's a home game. Let's win this. Get that trophy.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, fill that trophy case however you can.
Okay, so all right, I'm going off topic now. But if we win that game, what do we do with this thing? Seriously, you can't put it like next to like Vinny's Heisman, next to the championship trophies. What do you do with this thing? It's like it's several steps below Kirby Freeman's MVP in the blue turf game. So where do you put this thing?
Yeah, you could probably.
What do you do with this?
Put it in Coach Aaron Feld's office. I don't know.
Like there's no appropriate place to store this thing.
Put it in the shoe closet, right? It is a pair of boots, so there you go.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, maybe that's the answer. Just make
give it to Beverly. She'll take it.
Who's that?
His wife.
Howard's wife.
Maybe Beverly can keep it up.
I was gonna make a Beverly comment earlier, but I wasn't sure if she was still with us, so I didn't do it. But
He's with us.
Blue knew, so good.
Yep, there you go. Beverly's house it is.
Beverly's a legend too in South Florida. So.
Yeah, she is. Wow. We really talked about that boot for a while there.
That's all we got, man. That's all we got.
I mean, all right. So, well, before we get into it, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Prize Picks.
I was not prepared for Prize Picks.
It's all right. It's simple. It's simple. You guys, anybody goes to prizepicks.com, type in the code 5 FIVE when you log in, and they will match your deposit up to $100. It's real simple. Choose anywhere between 2 to 5 players, pick the over under on their individual categories, and win some money. What's awesome is that you can pick and choose what players you pick, from what teams, from what leagues. You can go all over the place. You can go NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, Formula One, golf, you name it. They can do it. Their college football, of course, you can do as well. So you can mix and match and win some money there. Make sure you go to prizepicks.com, log in, put in the code 5 FIVE, and they will match your initial deposit up to $100. Prizepicks.com. Check them out.
So apparently the school is watching the show because they just tweeted out literally 43 seconds ago, and now it's updated to a minute. Miami versus Louisville has a new tradition behind it, introducing the Schellenberger Trophy. Named after Coach Howard Schellenberger, who led Miami to its first national championship in 1983.
When do they play at home this year, or do they play away?
This year it's in Miami. It's in Miami.
Oh, is it home? Is it home?
Yeah, it's the week before Boston College.
Oh, wow.
What a slate of
That's
games.
what I'm saying, man. So glass half full. We can win a trophy. We can do it. We can win that home game against Louisville. We can
go on a 2-game winning streak.
And that is a legitimate trophy. Let's not get carried away, DJ. It's a road.
I know, right? Easy.
Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. It's a 6-day turnaround because that's the day. I mean, that's a little bit not enough prep time. Like,
as the cliche would say, one game at a time. All right.
Yeah, but I'm like, one of these games has a trophy now. Like, we gotta.
Yeah, really.
You can go 1-11.
Do more games with trophies.
Yeah, why not? What the hell?
Fill the trophy case.
We got to come up with a trophy. So who do we play every year? We play Florida State, Louisville, and who? Boston College.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell? And now that I think about it, what the hell were they thinking? Where's Virginia Tech in that?
Yeah,
right?
no, that was the one that when it happened, everyone's like, "What?" Even Virginia Tech fans too are like, "What? We're not playing Miami anymore? What happened?" I mean, that's weird. One of the that one's been going for 30 plus years, and has become one of the better rivalries in college football, and just to kill it for no reason.
I mean, a lot of things going on. I'll tell you what, the most exciting thing was over the weekend. Dylan Cruz taking BP in Washington. What? Hell, he's like a week from joining that roster. He hit 11 home runs, 7 of them to straightaway center field. They're all sitting there. When is he coming?
That's when is Yo-Yo going? No, I'm just kidding.
If Yo-Yo's there, I'm gonna go watch him.
If Yo-Yo's there.
When Yo-Yo shows us the big squad, I'll watch him.
Yeah, it would be fun for them to be up in Blacksburg and playing that game. I mean, it's always cool to see those games up in Blacksburg.
Yeah, no, they killed the rivalry, unfortunately. So
they really did.
Yeah, that was a good rivalry.
Yeah, no, and it's and the ACC doesn't have that many good rivalries, but they made sure like Duke got their games. They're getting Wake Forest and North Carolina State. It's of course nonsense.
Anyway,
those are money games.
They're not even money games. That's what the people that run the ACC care about. They care about those schools. No one's tuning up to watch Wake Forest against Duke.
That's
cares?
why. That's why Miami joined the AAU, and in a few years they're going to be in the Big Ten. That's it. It's the bottom line. We know that's going to happen.
Yeah, where our natural rival will be like USC or UCLA. It's just a 6-hour flight or whatever.
No big deal.
Yeah, Miami hasn't played USC since 1968. That'll be a good game.
Yeah, that would be.
How all right. I know we're used to blue. How do you know that?
I'm a big USC fan.
I know, but still, like this is
I
don't want to gloss over the brilliance we just saw here, where he somehow knows.
I thought he was just throwing out.
He didn't know I was gonna. We don't. Unfortunately, I'm sure people can tell this, but we don't show prep. So, so he had no idea.
I just barely make it in.
I'm sure you can tell, but we don't show.
I mean, let's put the cards down on the table here.
Hey, listen, we need to cut that and put that on our next intro. That was awesome.
Okay,
but that's part of the brilliance of the show.
But that's the thing. So he had no idea I was going to randomly name drop USC, but he knew 1968.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, the 66 game was here, and USC was a 28-point favorite. Miami upset them on a Friday night. I cried for a day.
Wait,
you amaze me every single day.
Or sorrow, right?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh yeah, he's a USC fan.
I know, but come on, man. He's also boy. Your flag just took a tumble.
But listen, I know Miami stuff.
You can literally peek behind the curtain now.
See what's behind there, right? It's Canes hats. All right, I gotta get up and fix it.
Am I wearing a USC shirt tonight?
No, you're not.
No, you're not.
I'm wearing you. All right.
I'm supporting the program.
It's Danny, we gotta watch out for.
Hey, that's my alma mater, though. That's my alma mater, so I can't turn my back on my alma mater.
It's not a rival. We'll allow it.
Yeah, Worcester State Division III football is no
Jazz
rival.
Busy fixing his flag, which fell down. All right, he's back.
This is the beauty of a live show. You never know what you're going to get.
Miami hasn't played UNLV since '72, and they'll haven't played USC since '68. So they'll never play UNLV again.
Gosh, Blue.
I don't know. If we keep playing like this, we might run into him in a bowl game. So
that is true.
Where does the 4th place team in the Mountain West go? Because
I take 4th place.
Could light up.
Unbelievable. All right, so we definitely veered off there, but that was fun. Media Day, Media Week, I guess, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it's a few days. Yeah, 3 days.
ACC Media Days are coming up, and starting tomorrow. And I know that the Kings are taking Tyler Van Dyke, Cam Kitchens, and Matt Lee.
Yeah. So, Jazz, we talked about this a little last week. What do you think about Matt Lee making the cut there?
Yeah, I like it. And listen, I mean, he's the anchor on that offensive line, right? He's considered. I would guess, right, just based off of last year's recruiting and everything, he's considered the best center in the country, right, or the best center transfer in the country, I guess you could say. I think he's a top 3 center, and he's going to lead that offensive line because I think that, with his experience and his, I guess he's been around for a while. He's been around for a little bit, right? And so
hasn't been here, but he's
not here, but he's been, he's played college football for a little bit.
That's a positive that he hasn't been here. So let's go with that.
And so I like that. I mean, I can see TVD, right? And of course, the All-American. You got to put Cam there, of course. So
yeah, I think TVD and Kitchens, that was going to happen.
What's that?
I would have taken Borregales.
Yeah, over TVD.
Yeah, no, over Matt Lee.
Oh, over Matt Lee. Is that
you got to come on, man. The guy hasn't even played a game yet.
Yeah, I know, but
I know. He'll get mad.
It's Mario. He's got to take an offensive lineman. He's not traveling without one.
He's got to take an offensive lineman. So, yeah, I mean, that's cool. I know it should be a huge pipe. There's not some. Yeah, the pipe would have been funny. That actually would have been a lot better. Have a pipe as a trophy.
Yeah, and would have leaned into the whole Tobacco Road thing.
Right.
Yeah, right.
That would have been cool. So I don't know how much you got into it, but obviously there was a lot of trash talking with the Big Ten teams, and I guess Oklahoma and Texas are still in the Big Ten, right?
Big.
No, they're going to SEC.
Big 12.
Big 12. They've never been. This is the last year, I think.
This is the last year. Okay.
Yeah.
We talked about Brett Vegetable. Don't worry.
Brett Vegetable, I love it. I love it. Brett Vegetable. Okay, so you guys talked a little bit about that already. Did you guys kind of get into?
Well, Jazz, what are your?
Don't you watch the show at all, Jazz? Come on now.
Not last week, man. Last week, I could not get in front of a computer.
I mean, let's be real. None of us would watch this if we weren't on it. So, Jazz,
Melissa watches.
Melissa watches consumes every kind of Canes media. I don't know how she doesn't go nuts doing that.
Which is great dedication. So shout out to you, Melissa.
We'll call it dedication.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but so we did discuss that. Obviously, everyone's aware the comments are a week old now. But what do you think was why? That's what we could not figure out. Why out of all things that did, as Blue called him, Brett Vegetable, decide that he wanted to just take a shot at Miami? There's no history there. There's what was that? I
mean, it's simple, right? It's simple. We jacked Caleb Spencer from him, right? That's what it was. It's the Caleb Spencer effect that we stole one of his recruits. No, I mean,
and we got what's his name, the DB Davis, right?
Yep, and we got Davis as well. That's right. We did.
So now he's really boiling.
So now he's pissed off, and I just find it interesting. I don't understand why he would have mentioned.
It made no sense. We're not a rival to them. Don't. There's no history really with him specifically either.
I mean, clearly we're living rent free in his dome, right? If you think about it, they were talking about him going 5-7, and then he referenced us saying, "Well, at least we didn't lose." I mean, what do we have to do with the Big 12 or with at all going?
The funny thing is, at least we didn't get blown out by Middle Tennessee State and lose to Florida State 45-3. Yeah, they lost to Texas 48-0.
So what are we even talking about?
Right? Even that doesn't even his trash talking didn't work. But
didn't Texas lose to Appalachian State?
Did Texas?
Or was it TCU? Ooh, somebody lost.
Texas lost to App State, I think. But
A&M.
Oh, right, the week before. Anyway, let's not bring up old stuff.
Yeah, let's not. No, but yeah, it was just weird. I think he's an idiot for doing that. I think that what you do is if you poke the bear, I mean, now he may go and steal another recruit or two from you.
I mean, the bear's been hibernating for 20 years, which is what makes it even odder.
Well, I'm talking about Mario Cristobal specific, actually. Yeah. The whole entire bear has been hibernating for quite some time. But I mean, it's just stupid. It's some teams are. Again, I get that some teams will be trash talking if they're talking about Texas or if they're talking about Baylor or whoever else is in the Big 12. But bringing up Miami has no sense. It makes absolutely zero sense. So I just think we live rent free in his dome, and it was nice to bring him up. It was nice that he brought up Miami and big on the Big 12 Media Day. So we'll take it, man. We'll take it. It's good pub for us.
Is it?
Yeah, of course it is. You got Miami on your mind. That's it, man. Just mention the U. That's fine. It don't matter to me.
All right.
I don't, now, my question is, how do you think these guys are going to react to that specifically?
You think they even care?
No.
I don't think they will.
I don't think there's any reaction because it's so bizarre.
When they meet in the Sun Bowl next year, there'll be a lot of talk. So,
well, my thing is, someone's going to mention it, right? Someone from the media is going to mention it, and I think they're not gonna even entertain it at all.
I mean, Mario should definitely say something like the equivalent back at that. At least we didn't lose to Texas 48-0.
Yeah,
I don't think he cares.
He won't though.
He won't, but that would be awesome. That would be so awesome.
These media days are good for sound bites. That's what the media there are looking for. That's you may get a couple good answers, good detailed answers, but these media days aren't really for in-depth, thoughtful responses. It's, to make headlines, and that's what Brett Venables did, kind of.
Yeah, that's basically what he did, just to kind of drum up some stuff. But whatever. The media day really doesn't. I really could care less about media day. I don't know what the whole point of it is. I guess it's just obligation.
The start of the season, kind of maybe, kind of the. I don't
know. It's a big meeting, basically. It's a conference.
Right.
You go there, you attend it. Media gets sound bites that they use. They get content out of it. It drums up momentum going into the season for the media coverage. That's why they do it.
Yep.
By the way, Jeff, I know Jeff put there. Why do we have a bye so early? I think we should break down the schedule and players and all that coming up soon. It won't be tonight.
Yeah, I'll just say on that point, we pick the out of conference games, which we did, and get those on the schedule. The schools does that. The rest is the ACC.
What is it in week 3 or 4?
No, it's after Temple.
Like week 3.
No, it's after week 4. We basically have 4 out of conference games a bye, and then all the ACC games in a row. So to answer your question, though, the ACC did it. So I mean, I don't know what else to say, because we independently contract our out of conference games. So we picked Miami of Ohio, Temple, Texas A&M, and Bethune, and get them on the schedule when they fit. And then the ACC builds the schedule around that, including your bye week. So they screwed us.
Right. That makes sense. Can we make the Temple game the Manny Bowl? Come on.
He was there for a week. I feel like it's more the Al Golden.
The Al Golden
There you go.
He was there longer.
The Al Golden Bowl. That, as long as we're just taking obscure people from 88 years ago, let's do that.
Loser has to keep him.
Oh man,
They'll fly him in for the day.
I mean, he's too busy ruining Notre Dame's defense.
yeah, keep him over there. Oh man,
Bring
Man,
the
that's gonna
Outfield.
be an interesting one in a couple of years when we.
yes. If he's still there,
He's gonna. I mean, unless he gets fired, he's not gonna get upgraded. So
Yeah, I mean,
fear the tie bowl. Don't worry, we are all afraid of the tie. The boogeyman doesn't keep me awake at night, but the thought of him coaching this program again, I'm sure as hell does.
No, yeah. I mean, the only way he's not there is if he gets promoted to head coach somewhere else at another school. So, which that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be quite.
I'm sure it won't be a Power 5 school.
No, it's
Although
you never know.
Manny Diaz's first head coaching job was a Power 5 school.
Yeah, you never know. And look at him now.
Yeah, look at him now.
I mean, look. I think at the end of the day, what we're excited for is to get the pads on again and hear them cracking, and that's going to happen in about 3 weeks from now is when training camp starts. If I'm not mistaken, it's in 3 weeks. So,
So I think it's 3. I think I'm doing this from memory, so it might be wrong. But you think Blue would know for sure, but because he knows everything. But I think you subtract backwards from your first game. I think it's 21 days or something. You can start practicing or something.
Okay.
There's a set time off, and since our game's on a Friday, we can start a day earlier.
Gotcha. Okay.
That Miami Ohio game's on a Friday.
Yeah. So if that's a Friday, September.
That's a Friday. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, our schedule's really weird to me. It's Miami, Ohio on a Friday, and then the following Saturday is A&M, then Bethune the Thursday after that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Then we get 9 days to prepare for Temple, which everyone wants. You got to get that extra
weird.
time in there for that Temple prep.
And
then bye week. So then those are the bye week after Temple, and that's just boom, ACC 8 games in a row, 8 games in 8 weeks.
That's going to be a tough stretch, no matter 8 games in 8 weeks.
That's going to be the biggest thing for Miami, I think. Is
I mean, we all know we're gonna be having this conversation. Why are we playing at Temple? And no good answers.
They're paying.
So but come on, like what are we doing? What are we doing?
Everybody's going to the Reading Market Friday night to eat.
Well,
I'm hoping the game's not too early, so I can just head up on Saturday and back on Saturday.
Yeah, you're close. So
I'm
What are you,
going
2
for
hours
sure.
away? 3 hours?
Yeah, about 2, a little less than 2. Debating whether to take the train or just drive, but we'll see.
Sure.
Well, you're in a good area.
We play around me a lot. Virginia's not far either, the other direction. So.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
We don't play them anymore. We used to play them every other year. Now
that's right.
I got Louisville and Boston College aren't anywhere near me. So
yeah, that's true. Well, Boston College is not that far, right?
Oh no, it's far. It's got to
Is it
be
really?
8 hours.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, 8 hours. It's a far drive.
Boston
And
College is far.
the day after Thanksgiving, I would suggest you stay
No,
home.
I'm definitely not going this year. But 2 years from now,
Maybe
might be. We got all crash at DJ's place. So
Although the next game after this year for VC is probably in Miami, right? Or
it's every year now. Yeah,
Gotcha.
so in 2 years, so 2025.
Gotcha. So maybe I'll
And
fight
you
out
know
in Miami.
already that game they're going to bring up Doug Flutie. It'll be on a Friday, and so we could already see that. I'm just
Maybe I'll
trying to
fly down to
promote.
Miami a couple of years from now.
Ooh, DJ, do it, baby.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome, man.
I would love to go to study Florida.
That'll be
Wait, hold on. So I'm always questioning DJ's loyalties here, but so are you a BC fan? I didn't realize that was.
I used to know the BC athletic director back in the day. So when I was younger, I used to go to all the games and stuff. I started a BC fan, and then I got into Nebraska because I was offered a position there. Then I realized that Nebraska fans love their athletics, and that's where a lot of the money was. So I was able to get Big Ten Network easier than I was able to get ACC Network, and yeah.
I don't even get ACC Network.
Yeah, ACC Network is.
So playing this forward, when you come down to Miami, ostensibly to attend this BC Miami game, where are the rooting interests?
Whoever has the free beer, then that's when I'll root.
All right, that's cool. You come by my tailgate, we'll hook it up. So.
Okay, so Miami.
That's easy. That's easy.
All right. I was doing an interrogation here, like, so who are you cheering for?
Yeah, I mean that's an easy one. Then.
Yeah, that's an easy one, man. The free.
I mean, when we go up to BC to watch the game, it's free beer for you there too. So
yeah, still be provided by the Miami contingent. So
correct. So.
I'd rather go down to sunny Miami than you guys come up to freezing Massachusetts.
Well, hopefully in 2 years, in 2025, it's like in September or something, not in not the day after Thanksgiving. So.
No, and hopefully it's not. I mean, guys, it's like 120 degrees over here right now. Okay,
is it really?
It's like that everywhere.
The index, it was like 115 today.
Really?
It was 118 in Fort Lauderdale and 111 this weekend here in Miami. So
yeah,
it's pretty bad, man. It's
pretty hot in Boston, I thought, today.
82. I mean, that's not 118, but it's still pretty hot.
Yeah, but Jazz, while you do this, you got to understand some of these people don't have air conditioning and stuff because it doesn't get hot up to warrant it. That's bad stuff. Man.
You have air conditioning where you're at?
I have central AC, yeah, but I mean, sometimes I don't even have to turn it on because it's nice and I can just use the fan, although I haven't used the fan that much this year, so.
I know, we noticed.
I know.
Well, Blue noticed. He seems to be like
my freaking fan is going off the damn.
Your fan is hauling ass back there, Blue.
I know. Yeah.
Well, if it's 118 degrees,
it's like an airplane propeller.
I know. Oh man. Let's.
One recruiting question. Do you know which?
That's perfect. I kind of wanted to get into that right now. We're kind of going to close football off with some recruiting news. He might be talking about Aiden Breland, or Kamarian Franklin. Names. I know Breland is fitting us into his top 4, so I don't know if that means that's a good thing or a bad thing, or if we're just going to be in the top 4. But I know him. I know Kamarian Franklin. I'm not even sure if Franklin's a 5-star or a 4-star, but I know that he was leading Miami for some time. Also, maybe Blue, you can kind of shine some light on Breland and Franklin.
Yeah, I take them both. I think Breland's a guy that hinted that Miami would really be in the mix because he enjoyed it and he fits here. Franklin, I don't know. I don't get a good feeling about that, but I get more of a better vibe off of Breland because I just think he's a guy that's kind of like he's a fit for this. And I think that a lot of the guys that had talked to him early on, but when you're fighting a lot of, you're fighting a lot of schools from, like Georgia and Oregon and, but as a kid, it definitely would jump right in. And, what is he, 6'5", 290?
Yeah, he's a big kid.
Yeah, I think he would fit in. But I get a good vibe about it because you got Georgia, and then I think that people say, well, listen, Georgia's got this guy, and they got this guy, and you get to go to Miami. You could be starting in a year.
Right.
He's that type of dude, though.
I think what people need to realize is that, there's a lot of people that talk about this, about, we're going up against Georgia and Alabama and all these SEC schools now. And everybody has to remember, like, this is what Mario was doing every single year at Oregon, right? And obviously he was at Alabama recruiting, right? He was the recruiter of the year, I think, in Alabama. This is natural. This is normal for him to be going up against these big schools. Yeah, sometimes it's a little harder to recruit down here, some of those guys than maybe Oregon or Alabama. But I think that's what he's trying to build here. So I think he's accustomed to it. I don't think it's anything too crazy for him, knowing that he's going up against those schools. So while we're not used to it, we're like, oh, if Georgia and Alabama's in the mix, then we're just another hat, right? Another hat for someone to grab and throw. I think this is a little bit different now with the way that he's recruiting. Obviously, we saw it, and you guys mentioned it last week with, Artavius Jones, who's obviously a big time prospect, but arguably one of the top 2 or 3 receivers in the country, and JoJo Trader committed as well. So that was huge. Obviously, that's kind of like the prize possession, the prize recruit for Miami.
No doubt. No doubt. But I will tell you this, Jazz. If we land Breland, I say Jason Taylor has got a chance to be recruiter of the year.
Yeah,
he does. Look at all he's brought in, and look at the influence he's making everywhere he's going. I know Joe Salave is with him, but let's figure. Joe walks in the house and Jason walks in the house.
Yeah.
Who's getting the brownies and who's getting the little Debbies? Come on now. Come on.
Hey, man, don't knock those little Debbies.
I was about to say, man, now we're taking shots at little Debbies. Come on.
I'll tell you what, though, the reason why I like Kamari and Franklin.
Those cosmic brownies, man. I don't know.
I know,
man.
Love the
homemade
brownies.
better be really good if you're gonna take.
Love those.
Brownies are awesome. The reason why I bring up Franklin Blue is because I know that he's been down here like 5 times, and he's actually gone and done personal workouts, like private workouts with Jason Taylor. So I know that he loves Jason Taylor, the coach. I like you. I don't know. You probably know better than I do. I don't know if he's still leaning Miami or not, but I think that the fact that he's done that gives me a good feeling about it. Now,
all right.
Who the hell knows? They're kids, right? At the end of the day, they change their mind more than their underwear. So, I think
a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more. So, it could be interesting, but I like either one. I think Breland is a stud as well. So those would be huge pickups. Blue, maybe let's finish off recruiting with this. I know that there's still some kids out there that are that will be pulling the trigger soon as well. Aside from guys like Breland and Franklin, is there anybody that maybe we should keep an eye on, or any guys that are out there that Miami is kind of doing their due diligence on?
Well, those 2 guys right now are the top of conversation because they're so game changing. And that's what Miami's after now. I mean, they're not just looking to pick up kids to pick them up. I'm trying to think if there was somebody else. I think there was a DB out of East Coast. Trying to think.
Yeah, man, I wish I would have.
DJ, who's that guy? I think he's from like the Maryland area or New Jersey, or he's a DB that
I can see his face, but I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, because he's a guy that I know that Miami was in on, and he liked
up.
Miami, and I think he was down to. I think Michigan was in that mix. Penn State.
Jamari Howard. That name sounds familiar as well. We got to get
the Howard kid from that's at New Orleans. You mean?
Is that Jamari Howard?
Yeah, it's the kid who was at with the walk-on quarterback that's coming in at Westland Hialeah.
Yeah, it says Central when I googled.
So yeah, he's moved on from Central. Now he's at New Orleans.
What I know, but Blue, I know you had some guys on today on your show, the walk-on quarterback.
That one guy on.
Yeah, you had the walk-on quarterback.
I had the 5-star wide receiver.
Oh, the 5-star wide receiver.
Yeah, JoJo.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then and Jacoby.
Who's awfully happy to be here.
Right.
Throwing a shout
Yeah,
out
Kevin Beard's done a great job too. A good job, Jacoby. Yeah, he has. He ain't gonna get Jeremiah Smith, but for getting Josiah, that's a big time haul right
That's
there.
Huge. Yeah, that was huge.
I don't think that Johnny Ruiz can top what's coming Jeremiah's way.
Listen, the only way that JJ flips from Ohio State is if we win, right? And that's not even a flip. That's even him considering coming to Miami. I mean, I know he's been down here 10 times. Everybody can say he's been down here a lot. He's an hour away. It's
win what?
Win games. Obviously, if we win 8 or 9 games, 10 games, and he likes the way the offense is being run, then that could potentially sway him to consider Miami a little bit more.
Is the boot trophy enough? If we get the boot trophy, that's not enough?
No, the boot trophy is not going to be enough. Definitely.
Damn, it's worth a shot.
You gotta win. You gotta win a couple more games than just the boot trophy.
Just beating Louisville's not going to get us over the top here.
Highly unlikely, unless Louisville has Lamar Jackson again. Then, and if we beat them with Lamar Jackson, then maybe But,
that's the other thing too. A lot of these recruits don't necessarily know what the offense is going to look like in person yet. Obviously, we haven't seen
we don't
how.
either.
yeah, of course. Like we don't know what this offense is going to look like yet. So I think once these recruits get on campus and maybe see a game, or there's at least things to watch on how this offense is going to function, then that may help recruiting, or that may not help recruiting. But
that's it.
Once the games start going, like you said, Jazz, it definitely could pay dividends.
It changes everything, man. It's still early. It's still early. Yeah. So let's see what happens.
And I'm sure TBD is going to get asked like a million questions about that in the next few days. What's the new offense like? What are we going to be doing here? What are we going and he'll give the generic. I fit well. I'm comfortable.
Yeah,
which is what he gave last year. So don't read too much into that because about the time we weren't breaking 100 yards against the clubs, it didn't feel like the offense was working.
This is so weird. So let's kind of pivot to college baseball. I know the Kings obviously a lot. Yeah. There's been a lot
of stuff has been going on when Jazz took the week off.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
I know the 1 week you take off, everything's going on.
Everything's going on. I wanted to talk about it too. What's up, Pokane? Look at you.
He's like you said baseball, and he just shows up. There's our man here. One of our big time baseball fans.
That's what he came to hear, to some college football, college baseball. It's so crazy on this roster here. It still shows Norberto down here, but then it says UCF assistant coach. So get his ass off the damn roster, man. Jesus.
Wait, Norberto's still on the school's roster?
Yeah, it's well, no, this is 247.
Yeah, I mean that's just we're not. Whatever is going on over there is
whatever
going on over there.
Yeah. Anyways, I know the Kings landed a couple of. I think they landed a couple other transfers. They just haven't really talked about it, but I know the one.
Jazz. So I'm looking at this thing. It's showing 2003 and 2004. If you look at the headers, that's why Gino is still there.
2003, 2004.
Look at the.
yeah.
So it's like that's why JD's pitching coach, then head coach. Laz is Nova.
Somebody ain't doing their job.
Gotcha. Yeah, no kidding, man.
It's not the most readable format.
So yeah, Jeff, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. I think the biggest name out of all of this, as far as transfers that we've gotten, is the kid Luke Castello out of Wake Forest. He was an outfielder for Wake Forest last year. Started probably 85 to 90%.
Yeah, he was a key player for them.
Yeah, he definitely was. I think he was a left fielder. I know a lot of people are going to knock him for that one blunder that he made against who was it, against LSU, right?
Yeah.
In the College World Series where he lost it in the sun or something like that. He just made a costly error. Whatever, I don't care. That's not a big deal. But yeah, he was a big time contributor. Hit over 300. Had a few home runs, 4 or 5 home runs. Drove in some runs. And what's the beauty of it is he's a local kid, right? He played college, he played his high school ball down here at Westminster Christian. And so, as a kid who's coming back home, who obviously played for the number 1 team in the country, was a contributor on that number 1 team in the country. And I think that's a great pickup for an outfield that, quite frankly, lost a lot there with transfer portal and guys who got drafted, including Zach Levinson.
Yeah, Levinson, I think, was one that we, coming out of the season, thought there's a decent shot would be back, and then
but he got drafted.
Yeah, no, we obviously missed on that one. It wasn't like his draft position was not borderline. He was clearly gonna go.
Well, we were like, well, if he doesn't even get drafted in the top 10 rounds, he'll be back.
Yeah, he went 5th round or whatever it was. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, unbelievable.
The other. So, Jazz, important question for you.
Go ahead.
Is it Castello or is it Castello? Because it's double L. He went to Westminster.
Yeah, though.
What's the move here?
It's Castello.
It's Castello, so we're not in a Aguirre situation.
It's Lucas Castello. Yeah, no, it's not not an Aguirre situation.
An Aguirre. Just want to make sure, I mean, it's from Westminster. It's adding up here, though.
Right. Yeah. No. It's Luke Castello. So the kid, not everybody is Hispanic down here. Vish, all right? Almost everybody, like 99%. Castello, you want to say Castello? Castello. It doesn't even sound right.
No, it doesn't. That's why I was like, but you don't want to butcher the
Never know.
again. Like,
Sure.
I wasn't just being everyone down here. I mean, it's also Westminster, which
right.
Come on.
Exactly. Luke, yeah. So Luke Castello, he's a big time addition.
He's definitely like. I mean, if you just think 1 for 1, he's taking Levinson's spot.
I don't know if he'll match the power numbers per se, as far as from a home run perspective, but the kid hits, right? He hits over 300. Again, on the number 1 team in the country, and that team was loaded up. So I like that he's coming in. He's obviously going to immediately be a starter. You've got some guys on the roster, like I know we all had high hopes for Lorenzo Carrier, who apparently is playing well in the Cape, which is nice to see. So he's promising. He's a kid that we want to see develop and get a little bit better and understand how to hit, right? So there's a difference between being able to hit the ball 450 feet. As Blue, I'm sure you know very well that there's a lot of guys that you've seen throughout your career that come up and that can hit 450-foot bombs, but they can't hit, right? They get lucky and they run into one every once in a while.
Can't hit a good curveball, and
it's the scene from Moneyball.
It's approach. It's the way that he swings the bat. I think he needs help. This is why I like so much the Darren Fenster move as well, to come in and be the hitting coach and the position coach for Miami now as well. I think that's a kind of guy that can come in and really help this team as a whole at the plate. So I like that, and I think that Carrier understands how to hit the ball to every spray.
Well, this is where it's exactly like the Moneyball scene when they're like, I forget, they're talking about a prospect, like the ball pops off his bat, like we hit it, but then the counter to that from Brad Pitt is if he's a good hitter, why can't he hit?
By the way,
and I think we're kind of there. Like, if he's a good hitter, why can't he hit? He can't hit the curveball. He can't hit the off speed.
You got to remember,
he's got to develop that. Otherwise, it's just not enough.
He has to, and I know that he was one of the top. He was one of the top-rated players out of from Perfect Game and all that stuff. But you got to remember too, he played in Delaware. Let's take a step back and say, he probably was the best player Delaware has ever seen. Okay, I mean, Blue, you could probably say that he's going to throw out a name that played for the Boston Red Sox or something that's from Delaware. I don't know, but you know what I mean. What I'm trying to say.
You're talking about Delaware from the college or Delaware high school?
No, Delaware, the state.
Oh,
Delaware,
the state.
Yeah.
Well,
so
look at Clark. He comes from what, Indiana, and
there
he,
there it is.
They said he was the best high school baseball prospect ever.
What's his name? What was his name?
Max Clark. The kid had just got taken by Detroit.
Max Clark. Oh, okay. The kid. Yeah. I didn't hear what you said. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the kid, he's, but I heard that like 4 years ago with Mickey Moniak. Oh, Philadelphia picked him up and he's going to be the best. And they even had like Joy Taylor comment on him. Like, oh, he's the best thing ever. Now he's like walking the dugout and he goes, hey, I'm next to Ohtani.
Yeah, he's playing for the Angels, so that's nice. I mean, another local kid is actually a starting shortstop there for the Angels. Is Zach Neto from Coral Park Senior High, who's a starting shortstop.
Yes, he is
for the Angels. So, and I mean,
yeah. So that's what we're attempting to do, but not really staying on topic. But
we'll do position by position, but we'll couple of weeks. Then because we.
No, I think he's talking baseball. I think he's talking baseball.
Yeah, he's talking baseball.
Oh, he is. Oh, okay.
So I'll just say from outfield, because Castello is going to come in and start, and then the other ones that are back are Villegas,
I think Jacoby Long has
and Dario Gomez has eligibility, and then Carrier.
Yeah,
for those last four spots.
Gomez. Let me
Villegas.
Villegas is one coming back that could potentially be another starter as well. So, and then what I'm thinking is, I know that Jeff was asking about this too, but I think we're going to still need some portal help, and because you got Villegas, Gomez, Jacoby Long, and Lorenzo Carrier. That's it. Everybody else left. Zach obviously got drafted. Renzo's in the transfer portal. Ian Farrell transfer portal. Gabby Gutierrez transfer portal, and Caden Martin, who. It boggles my mind that these guys, a guy like Caden Martin left, because he could have fit right in and been the starting outfielder right now. So I think it's just transfer portal kind of screws things up too, if you ask me. But there's also
Depends which side you're on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say overall there's probably, you got to knock on wood injuries and all that. The outfield's in pretty solid shape. Because you're bringing Castello in, and then on top of that, you got 4 other guys that could potentially start and have started quite a bit. Now someone, and we'll talk about the infield, is thinner. Someone's got a DH. Like there's issues throughout, so probably one of those guys is a DH, maybe Carrier.
You also got
with his infamous range in the outfield. Carrier might be the DH.
Well, speaking of that, you also got Luca Reyes, who's another addition. He's a freshman, yes, and Jake Kulakowski as well. So those are 2 outfielders that were brought in, and we'll see how it goes there. I want to go back up to the top and talk about the catcher position. I know that one is one that
this one feels like kind of the probably the weakest.
It kind of hurts a little bit, but look, truth is, right? If Carlos Perez, which is obviously the income, right? He's the starting catcher next year,
and there's no one's really been brought in to challenge him. So
behind the dish, he's as good as anybody in the country, if you ask me. Behind the dish, he's a great receiver. He calls a pretty decent game. So I like what he does behind the dish. We saw what he was able to do with the bat this year, right? Kind of his power numbers went up. He's got 13 home runs, which was second in the ACC for catchers. So obviously his average went down a little bit, right, as the season progressed. But it's a huge jump up from what he did 2 years ago. So if he can continue to build off of that, then honestly, Vish, it might not be our weak spot, right? We might have
the challenge. I think you nailed his eval exactly. The challenge that I have is just it's feast or famine too much. His power numbers were really impressive,
right,
given that he had no power the year before.
Right.
So, but he's got to be able to get on base more consistently, because that back half of the lineup became a black hole.
It really did
by the end of the year, and. It wasn't just him, obviously. He's one player. The whole back part was slumping. He's got to be more consistent. He's got to be able to get on base, outside of the home runs, which is stupid to say when he hit, I think, 13. But outside of that, there was nothing else there, and that's tough when if other people around him are able to get on base more, it'll mask it a little. Right. But it got to the point where I got to wait for the lineup to turn over to even try to score, because you knew he and Sour Place were going to get out.
Yeah.
So I think this is an area where, we'll be okay. It was an area I'd have liked to have upgraded. That obviously didn't happen. It's not a disaster if he starts. Of course, he's fine.
Yeah,
he's an ACC starting catcher. So
he definitely is. He definitely is, and I think that we're and it's okay, because I'm like this as well. I want a catcher who's gonna. I want every pitch, every hitter to hit over 300 to drive in 50 runs. And the reality is, most of the players on the team are probably going to hit in the 250 to 280 to 290 area. If you can get that out of Carlos the whole year, you got yourself one hell of
right. And if you get it consistently, because he started off on fire, and then by the end, not to dredge up painful memories, but him trying to lay that bunt down, because he lost all confidence.
Well, he went 18 for 19.
Yeah, right? At the ACC tournament, and then carried that into the regionals, and he lost confidence. So how he mentally recovers from that,
right,
will also be big. If he comes into the year playing like that, I think Scanlon might get some shots there.
Yeah, or AJ Goida. I know that.
Freshman. I just generally, even though it's stupid, because some of them will obviously play and contribute, just like Blake Sear did. But I just never look at freshmen like, oh yeah, that guy's going to come in immediately, even though some of them inevitably do.
Right. And not only that, it's it depends on how deep your team is, and if we're not very deep, then some of those guys are going to have to play.
Yeah, so speaking of not very deep, the infield.
Yep. Speaking of not very deep, so Blue, you got 3 guys that came back returning. Obviously, a freshman All-American who has potential to be one of the best players in the ACC this year, Blake Sear, was the second baseman, may transition over to shortstop. Obviously, if Adrian Santana wouldn't have gotten drafted in the first round,
I think he's
starting shortstop. Yeah. But Blake Sear might make the transition over to his more natural position, which is the shortstop position. And you've got Dorian.
Where's Dorian Gonzalez? Is he?
He's back.
He's back. Which
He
is why
actually
we
had a better second half of the season.
Well, he started hitting. Here's what I think the misconception is, right, Blue? And you know this. You know baseball is he started hitting the ball. He just hit it right at people, right? So you started to see his approach at the plate was better. He was able to make more contact. He got on base a little bit more. His OPS jumped up a little bit as well. So the only problem is that he had a hard time getting on base and hit, getting base hits. But if you're talking about a kid that made some contact, was able to put the ball in play, now he just has to find the holes. Dorian could potentially, kind of develop again into a nice second baseman. Now you got yourself a really good middle infield because he's a hell of a second baseman. There's not too many
great hands, that's for sure.
There is than Dorian Gonzalez. So if he can kind of get that bat back to kind of how he was towards the end of the year before, then I think that you got something nice with Dorian Gonzalez there at second base.
Yeah.
Now the question is going to be the corners, right? You've got Jason Torres who's coming back. He will probably be replacing Yo-Yo Morales at third base. And you've got an incoming freshman who's an absolute monster, Daniel Covett, who can really swing the bat. Who's a third baseman by nature, but I think that he's gonna have to.
Got some power numbers.
Yeah, he's got some.
No, he's gonna play first.
He's gonna play. He's got to be your first baseman, right? Unless you're gonna flip him and have Jason Torres at first and him at third. I mean, that could happen as well. But I at least at the beginning, I could see Covett being the first baseman and Jason Torres being your third baseman. Jason Torres is gonna have to make up for those power numbers that Yo-Yo kind of left. It's going to be tough. You're not going to be able to match what Yo-Yo did. I get that. But he's got potential to be really, really good. And we saw a little bit of that last year when he got his opportunity in 36 at-bats, hit 4 or 5 home runs as well. So the only problem is that there's not much depth after that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we're already talking about sliding. Sierra played second base. He's sliding over to short, so that way Dorian can start. That is, but
his numbers may, he's gonna have to do more at shortstop, right, Blue? I mean, a shortstop compared to a second baseman now. Yeah, he hit 17 home runs last year and drove in 63 runs.
Different defensively now. I mean, he's got to be way on top of the game.
Right. So that's gonna be the biggest difference. Can he make the switch and still keep those numbers up? That's going to be the biggest question for Sear. And like I said,
that's like usually taking a catcher, putting him behind the plate after he had like monster numbers as a DH. Right. Then that the catching is going to take a lot out of him physically, definitely mentally, because he's got to be the quarterback and the, on the team as far as watching out, calling pitches, checking the tendencies of the base runners. So, yeah, no, I agree with you. Shortstop is a very pivotal position in that infield because, I mean, you're calling a lot of the signals. You got to be 2-3 steps ahead of everybody. So, but I think Blake could do that because he's that type of athlete. And
I think so too.
Once he adjusts and gets, I think once he adjusts to the position and, feels more comfortable, then he'll – but you could just say, you look at him and you say, well, this is a guy who just needs to be acclimated. And once he's acclimated, no matter where he's at, he's going to produce.
Right.
Yeah, and I think he'll be fine. But I think overall, we're having to move him over to get Dorian into his position. We're basically taking a freshman and playing him slightly out of position at first base. All because there's nothing behind that though. And I think this is where you mentioned earlier might need to get back in the portal. The infield is so thin.
Yeah, though I'm okay. I'm okay with the first base is the easiest position to.
We can say that. I guess my overall point is we don't really even have a first baseman on the roster, so he's playing it. We don't have depth at all. Like everyone else is a freshman too. That's behind them.
Yeah. When you mean a natural first baseman like a CJ Kafis, that's something.
But there's not a lot. I mean, you look at a lot of those anyways. You look at any program, Vish, and they kind of transition these kids to that position. The kid could be a right fielder, but he's like 6'2".
Right? Nick Kurtz, the kid from Wake Forest, not a traditional first base, not a natural first baseman, but he was a freshman. He could swing it like no other.
I guess my larger point is we got 2 freshman shortstops and a freshman third baseman, which we're going to slide over to first, and that is the depth.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be
because
it's gonna be an interesting fall ball because
we're gonna need to Jazz mentioned it. We got to dip back in the portal. Like this isn't gonna work.
I think
it's
so.
Not enough players.
I know that.
See, that's the advantage of playing so much in the fall because you can see what you have, and then all of a sudden make that move maybe in, before the January begins, and you go, okay, let's take this kid. He's leaving Ohio State. He plays, left field and third base. The kid's a good third baseman. And we could use him in left field, and then if need be, third base. So that's what you need because college baseball anymore. It's not just where you could play one position. Because of the fact that the draft is so prevalent now, and even the fourth and fifth and the sixth and seventh, eighth rounders are going. Back in the day, they didn't. It was usually the first, second, and maybe a third guy if he didn't really like college. But yeah.
Portal's closed, by the way. Portal's closed. What you bring up, though, Blue, is a really, really good point because it's
Jazz. Entering the portal is closed, right? You can still
entering the portal.
You can still exit the portal.
Yeah. You can't. You can't enter it. Right. You can still commit to other schools. You just can't. You can't enter the portal anymore. However, here's my thing. Right. My thing with you brought up a great point, Blue. Is it's kind of just like football. You know how football. There's a lot of teams that play their spring football, and then after that, you see a lot of them transfer out again, or you see them pick up more players. I think what's going to happen if you look, and I know, Vish, you look at this a lot, right? You look at D1baseball.com or whatever a lot. There's thousands of kids that are still in the portal that have not committed to other schools.
Someone call Ariel Garcia back. We need infielders.
Yeah, right?
Get my boy back home.
But there's still some really good players out there that have not committed. Yeah. Why? Because they're going to wait, just like you said, they're going to wait for fall ball to see what some of these teams are lacking, what some of these teams are missing.
But that's the climate we're in, Jazz.
So, but I know it's a farce, but they do have to enroll in school.
No, but they can enroll in school for the January.
But what are they doing in the are they like for example, we have several kids in the portal that have not committed. They're all just going to be at Miami, not on scholarship next year, and
Well, there's fall leagues, Vish, that these guys participate.
No, I know, but the college thing is, remember, it's about the academics, not the sports.
Yeah, that's
we're all very.
That's why the guys go there for 6 months.
We gotta go to school somewhere. You gotta go to school somewhere.
They're still
right?
taking English 1 in their freaking senior year, so
they still gotta technically be enrolled in a school, or I guess theoretically they could stay at the school they're in.
They could, right?
They could still like for our kids that transferred out that are still looking for schools, they could stay at Miami and advance, their past their classes or whatever there, so they're eligible.
I can see that happening.
Because if you don't go to class in the fall, you're not going to be eligible in the spring.
True,
no doubt.
Exactly.
So you got to at least show up and go through the
motions. A lot of these players might just stay where they're at as far as academically, and then just transfer, like you said, in the spring for January.
It's not a good situation for them though, because you want to be working out at your facilities at your new school and stuff. But if they don't have a new school, what else are they going to do?
Right. So that's. But I can see that happening, right?
For sure.
Waiting, hey, fall ball, and then JD kind of notices, well, hold on a second, we really need a shortstop because Sear is definitely our second baseman, whatever the case is. And Jimenez or Fernandez are not cutting just yet. They still need to develop. Which, by the way, Jimenez is a really good shortstop. Number 20.
Oh, I think from a quality standpoint, we're okay. It's from a quantity. We have 2 freshman shortstops,
right?
And that's the infield depth.
Well,
everyone else is a starter.
Expecting them to be really good right off the bat is hard.
But even if they are, it's still not a lot of depth because we have 4 starters and 2 backups, and that's it for the entire infield right now. There has got to be more body count coming in.
Yep.
Like Jeff is saying, maybe they're at JUCO something. We just I don't even obviously they need to be able to play because otherwise it's the point. But there just needs to be more. Even in midweek, you want to rest guys. We don't really have anyone.
Our JUCO kid who's going to come in and start right away in the outfield that hit 15 home runs and 47 RBIs and hit 407. Got drafted in the 16th round.
It was one of the late rounds, yeah.
And he still signed. So
that was a bummer.
That was a big time bummer because he could have come in.
It was Wu Yol Shin.
Yep. So. big time kid. That kid would have come in right away and either DH or started in the outfield. So
that one hurts, but that happens.
I mean, Tyshawn Walton hurts as well, right? He was another one of the top players in the country.
Yeah, but I mean that one there was like no doubt.
Right. So
because even when Shin got drafted, we're like, there's still probably a good chance he ends up on campus, but he did not.
There was rumors out there.
Yeah, that it might have been, there might have been academic challenges.
Right. Which at that point, yeah, you're gonna go sign. I don't blame him. So speaking of that,
we have three. Just to answer Poe's question before we get to the pitching, we have three. So one's Cuvette, I think is how you say his name, or is it Covett?
Cuvette or Covett, yeah.
He's definitely gonna play probably at first base because he can either play first or third, and Torres will probably play third. Right. So one of them's starting. Then we have two other really strong shortstop prospects that we brought in.
Antonio Jimenez and Lucas Fernandez, I think.
Yeah, which will both probably at some point down the line be starting. That's probably one of them will probably end up sliding to second. That'll be our middle infield down the road. But that is actually it. So for those two guys we just mentioned are the only two backup infielders we have.
Yeah, we need to pick up some guys.
That's the issue. And then we only have two catchers, which ideally you'd like a third because they get hurt.
Well, we have three.
Scanlon. I forgot the freshman.
Yeah, Scanlon and Goya, and then Carlos Torres.
Okay. So we're good there.
The interesting one is going to be on the bump because obviously we lost guys like Walters, Rosario, Arica, Gallo, Carson Ligon transferred to Mississippi State. Perez transferred to College of Central Florida, and then some of the other guys they weren't factors in it. But what I'm excited about is you do get two of your top prospects back from last year after they had Tommy John. You actually potentially get all three with Brian Walters as well, and you've got Ashton Crowther and Miles Cava, who are two big time guys that can come in right off the bat and make a difference on this staff. Now it's hard to put all your eggs in that basket because they are coming off of Tommy John surgery. But we know Tommy John surgery nowadays is like getting your knee scoped, right? So it's unbelievable how they recover. And all three of those guys had Tommy John: Walters, Crowther, and Cava. So it's going to be interesting to see how they come out and perform in the fall because you want to see them perform well in the fall. I know last year in the fall I saw Carson Ligon throw really well. And then he had issues all year long. But I also saw Ben Chestnut throw really well in the fall, and he didn't do so well either during the season. Right? He had his moments here and there against mediocre teams, but against the big teams, you just can't.
Yeah, and Zeal's another one that had a really strong fall, and then they moved him into the Friday spot, and he really struggled there, and they had to move him back down
He's not your
rotation to find himself. Yeah, I think this is a staff. So just to list off the guys that are back, it's Zeal, Chestnut, Torres, Cinta, and Rafe as guys that played a lot. Obviously, you mentioned Walter, Crowther, and Cava are back from injury. Right. So, I mean, that's a solid base because I think we'll go through the incoming. This is a position where they did load up on newcomers, so there's going to be a lot of arms there.
And guys that stayed,
guys that stayed. So this is probably one where it's a little uncertain, but there's enough here to put it together, and come through. But yeah, I think in need of an ace is probably there's nothing. Like I think maybe it'll be Crowther at that or Cava.
Or Hernandez,
or Hernandez is another one.
He's a transfer from a JUCO, so that means he's got
a little bit more. But I feel like someone's got to come in and seize that role. I think, and then if that pushes Zeal down a little bit that's like the ideal. That some of these guys that have been solid for us are not like that's the main guy, right?
Not only that, now you've got the emergence of Rafe, who apparently is doing really well in the Cape League as well. We saw what he did against Texas, so there's a lot to build off of there. If you have a guy like Rafe as your Sunday afternoon guy, and Zeal as your Saturday night guy, you're talking about a pretty decent, and that's saying, Eric Hernandez is your Friday night guy, or we got to find that Friday night guy.
Right.
I mentioned him because obviously, he's a legitimate arm coming in the transfer out of Miami-Dade as well.
Yeah, and that was a big one, the opposite of Shin, that we thought we might lose him too, but he has stuck, and so he has he'll either I think he's almost certainly going to start, and maybe be the Friday guy. I mean, you could also
He's got good stuff, man.
Yeah.
He's a big lefty who throws hard, 94, 95 miles an hour. He's got all the pitches, and he's went 8-3 in for Miami-Dade, which is obviously they play some of the best JUCO baseball in the country, and 8-3 with a 2.86 ERA, which is nice. But then they bring in some big time arms out of high school.
A lot of freshman pitchers on this team that stuck. Yeah,
big time guys like Brandon Oliveira, Alex Valentin, those guys. And you got another lefty in JT Caruso. So you've got some big names that are going to come in and potentially, bolster the bullpen a little bit. But again, it's hard to depend on just freshmen, right? So they might have to bring in an arm or two. Unless you can really rely on Crowther and Caba, then I think you're okay.
Yeah, I think the medical condition of those two and Walters will dictate if they need to dip back in. If they think they can have all three of those guys ready, then you got some depth because you add Hernandez to that. And again, they're bringing back a lot of arms now. I see lost Walters to the big one. Lost Ligon, which by the end of it, wasn't really even contributing. And then the other. You mentioned some of the other kind of big arm, just in terms of stuff, is Rosario. The other ones, Gallo really and Lecarica kind of battled and frankly helped keep the season afloat when everything we ran out of pitching and they battled. But I think by the end when it got to the big, they just didn't have the stuff to really be effective in the postseason. That hurt. So on paper, obviously Walter's the big loss, but probably more, depth next year. It's just a matter of getting it together. And because Walter's papered over a lot with the
by the way, Poke, I made that same mistake a couple weeks ago.
Wait, what happened?
He was looking at the 2024 recruiting class, not 23, and I made that mistake too.
Oh yeah, 23 is the one coming in.
24 one looks awesome, but that's not here yet. So.
Yeah, some of it might not show up. The problem with it being too awesome is that some of it doesn't show on campus. But I think there'll be more quality arms they can go to this year. But maybe, I don't know that anyone will be as effective as Walters was, for example. So it's kind of give and take.
Jeff, to answer your question, Brian Walters, yes, he still is in rehab. I know. I have experience in this because I have had Tommy John surgery. I had the same surgery that these guys had. The recovery process is 9 to 12 months. And I know that was when I had it done, which was almost 20 years ago now, about 15 years ago, 16 years ago. So it's been a while, but I had it done with the best in the industry. I had it done with Dr. Andrews up in Birmingham. So
wow, look at you.
Yeah, this guy name dropping.
I'm name dropping. You can't see it now because I'm all tatted up, but the scar is there. The scar is there. So
yeah, this guy.
It's a long road. It's a long road, but I can tell you what, at 75%.
Hey, you come back.
Yeah, I was at 75%. I was throwing harder than I ever did before my injury. So I think that the problem is fatigue. The problem is everything else, right? The mindset, getting your location down, getting your technique, your mechanics down. As far as throwing hard, you're gonna throw hard, but it's not as easy as people think. Everybody thinks, oh, you had Tommy John, you're gonna come back throwing harder and better. A lot of people have Tommy John and you never hear from them again, more often than not. And so what you got?
There's a lot of those type of surgeries, not just the Tommy Johns.
Sure, yeah, rotator, you rotate.
Yeah, there's all that stuff.
All that stuff, but
even knee surgeries and back surgeries and things, the kids are never coming back.
Right, but
not everybody can be a Henry Rowan Gardner.
Well, the reason I'm mentioning
that passed by you guys
because those three, that's what they had, right? Those three had it: Crowther, Caba, and Walters.
Did they all have Tommy John?
I believe all three of them did. Yeah, I know Walters for a fact did.
Yeah, no, for him, I was sure. I thought I didn't look into it too much detail. I just knew the other two were quote injured.
I believe someone told me that they did, and
okay.
So, the rehab process takes a while, and usually the first year is your toughest one getting back into it, right? It usually takes 9 to 12 months. But can you come in and look? It's college baseball, so you can come in and you can kind of dominate a little bit, so you'll be okay. Wow, Martin. Good morning from the Insomniac in Africa. Nice to see Mr. Bluestone on. Hey, Mr. Blue
Look,
Smoke.
man, we'll let that slide. You're up in the. I mean, I don't know.
Are there any
exactly
hurricanes coming off the coast? I want to know.
Yeah, let us know what's going on in Cape Verde over there.
Well, I mean, we don't know exactly where in Africa or what the time, but it is definitely substantially middle of the night for our guy
it's
there.
probably around 4 or 5.
Thanks, Martin, for hopping on here.
Absolutely.
Mr. Bluestone.
I mean, we'll let that slide. The man is bleary-eyed typing onto it.
It's autocorrect. We'll let it slide.
Yeah, we'll let it.
I used to have one of the kids who played football. His dad used to work off of those oil platforms, and he used to be right off the coast of Africa. And he used to text me like on Facebook. He would be up at like 4 a.m, and he would you want to know, hey, what happened in football today? Wait, Botswana. All right,
Botswana. Wow, that's pretty awesome, man.
It's probably a very interesting story there.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you coming out.
Not a lot of hurricane footprint in Buffalo. So.
A lot of hurricanes, but not the Miami.
I don't think they get hurricanes. They form off like the West African coast, but they don't really hit them.
They come in through the Indian Ocean across Africa, and then
are they called typhoons there, or when do they?
I think
if they hit Asia, they're typhoons.
Japan and stuff.
I'll let Martin answer that.
Yeah.
What we're doing here, actually, to be honest. Pope, to answer a question, we use D1 Baseball quite a lot for our stuff. They do a good job of it's a premium service we're going to pay for it, to be honest, but it's kind of worth it. They stay on top of everything and kind of update, and sometimes we learn things about our own team there because they update trackers and stuff like, wait, that dude transferred? And then like you dig into it and 3 weeks later get an answer from someone within the athletic department. Yes,
I remember when we were watching that game. We were in the stands, Vish, and you go, "Hey, did you know that this?" And I'm like, "What?" Yeah, look, he's not on the field. I'm like, "What?" It's like we still have like 3 weeks before the season.
Well, that was how. So that was Ian Farrow who left. Left before inexplicably, like 3 weeks before the season ended, even though he's still playing pretty regularly. And it was just in the D1 baseball transfer tracker. Like, what? And so then before the next game, they announced, I think it was because it was senior day or whatever, they announced like everyone that was on the roster, not just the starters, and like he wasn't there.
Now look, listen, let's take a step back. Some of these guys that have not transferred anywhere could maybe come back, right? Right? Maybe there was an issue with, and I hate to
don't tease me with Ariel Garcia, man.
Well, but I hate to throw this out there, but maybe there was an issue with Gino, right? Like that could very well be a possibility.
That's a good point. That could happen.
And they're kind of testing the waters and see what's out there, and if they don't like it, come back and play ball here in Miami. Now, if that happens and you get back like an Ian Farrow, or you get back a Caden Martin or something like that, you're sitting okay. Because now you got another big bat in the lineup that can come in and produce. So, but I know.
We'll see. Only time will tell.
I think it's going to be. I wouldn't expect any of that. Well, especially not. I think in terms of like, I would say Ian Farrow probably the least likely because
Ariel Garcia
for him to leave in the kind of the business end of the season right before the postseason when he was actually playing pretty regularly is messed up. And whatever happened, whether it was his fault or not, we don't know. But it's hard to go back at that point, regardless of whether it was a problem with Gino or not. I mean, some of the ones surprised us, right? Like Renzo going in was a surprise. He started to play a lot at the end of the season.
That could be a guy that could.
Gabby Gutierrez as well started to be like one of the key pinch hitters. Thought he'd have a bigger role next year. So I think there's some guys in there. As much as it pains me, Ariel's not one of them. Did not play at all. So I'd be surprised. Obviously, Caden Martin's younger, so he would have more opportunity if he were to come back. But I feel like he's got more options outside of Miami. But someone like Renzo or
football. I mean, he was a 4-star quarterback too. So I mean, just a better baseball.
But I feel like if anyone will bounce back, it'll probably be someone like Renzo or Gabby. That there's opportunity.
Come back.
If someone's gonna like exit the portal and come back to school here,
and that changes things though, because Renzo plays first base also. So now you're it's weird. It's crazy.
Renzo plays like 3 or 4 positions too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that could
be all right. Well, that's enough baseball talk for tonight. DJ's ready. He's been falling asleep for an hour and a half.
No, I've been good. I've just been listening.
Yeah, we did. Crack the rotation. Maybe we'll see.
Okay, let's end on this then, right? Because we were talking about this a little bit before the show. And I think we kind of landed on Torres being the closer. Probably. What other options And Cinta's definitely not really that type of
No,
pitcher.
but
But
the other
so
option-
if it's not Torres, who is the other?
I mean, maybe if Walters is healthy enough, maybe Walters.
Okay.
Or Kaba, one of these guys. So, but right now it's got to be Torres. It's got to be Torres. I think he's earned it. So
Yeah, and his stuff is somewhat hittable, but he executes pitches. He's not gonna like walk in or run. He's not gonna melt down. He's gonna hit his spots, and that's half a closing.
and
It's
he's
just
good for an inning. If he's good for an inning,
Yeah.
that's what you need. So
Yeah.
All right, fellas. Next week, get ready because it's all football.
Well, we get quotes, man. We're getting quotes out of Media Days. We're gonna figure out what we can overreact to.
Man, I'll try to do it.
Which one of these players is gonna be like, we're going 12-0, so we gotta talk about it for like a month.
I'll try to do it from Kansas City though, because I'm gonna be.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah, that's right. Everyone here's going to Kansas City. Gonna get some barbecue out there.
Yes, sir. You know it,
do the
baby.
barbecue.
Good move.
If you got time, do the Negro League Museum. If you got time, that thing is awesome.
Yeah, I might try to do that on Saturday.
If you got time to do one thing other than the barbecue, do that.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
That's definitely worth it. The Jazz Museum too is like connected to it. You can do them both together.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Now we did not talk about them. But,
yeah. Oh, football. I was in like a baseball mindset. I'm like, who are these baseball players? It's like,
Graves, Malik Curtis, Martinelli, and Michael McLaughlin. Also.
Yeah, we had some players.
McLaughlin will probably end up in Indiana. That's where he's from.
He's from up there, so he might have a better shot. So.
All right. Well.
All right, peoples. Anyways, next week we will start previewing training camp and do some roster breakdowns and records.
Yes, it's only a handful of shows before
the season.
Before it's like before it's the other Miami, like the other white meat preview here.
Well, 4 shows before the first of the next month. So.
Wow.
Before the Miami versus Miami battle.
That should be fun.
So we'll be ready for breakdowns pretty soon.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Times are ahead.
We'll see you guys next week. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at Six Rings Canes, and also check out Buckets this week and the F1 show in the
Buckets, where we really have nothing to talk about. So Melissa's got a new setup apparently, so we're going to talk about that. Great show we got coming on there. Also, I did see Norchad throw out the first pitch at the Marlins game on Saturday, so that'll be about half an hour of content.
Oh God! Good luck.
It's the off season, man.
We'll see you guys later.
The Six Ring Kane Show. Yeah. The Six Ring Kane Show. Yeah. The Six Rings Kane Show. You know.